Hi everybody, welcome. It is time for another episode of HSP TV. Today is the 34th episode of HSP TV, and today I want to talk to you about the things that you should know. These are important things, so I hope you are going to join me today. If you are joining me live today in the broadcast, then give me a wave or type in your name, tell me where you're from. I'll give you a shout out. I always love to connect with the people that are watching. And if you're watching this in a replay later on, then type hashtag replay in the comments so that I know that you watched it in the replay. Hi, I coach for you and BJ 89075. Nice of you to join. Glad that you're here. So, the things that you should always know. Important stuff what we're going to cover here today. So pay attention, and if you have any questions during my talk, just type in your question or wave and get my attention, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And if you have questions while watching the replay, just hashtag replay in the comments and ask your question, and I promise to answer all your questions personally. So the first thing that you should always know is who you are. I see a lot of the highly sensitive people that come into my practice, both the highly sensitive entrepreneurs or the highly sensitive employees, it doesn't really matter. I see them struggling with who they are. And this is a big topic for highly sensitive people because as you know, or then you know now, 80% of the world is not highly sensitive. This means that 20% of the world is highly sensitive. That also means that 4 out of the 5 people that you meet, hi Freddy, nice of you to join. And 4 out of the 5 people that you meet are not highly sensitive. And the 80% people of this world, they usually only think about themselves. The world revolves around them, around their needs, about their wants. But as a highly sensitive person, we think differently. We think about others first and then about ourselves. And what I see a lot and what I experienced myself also is that this causes us to try to be somebody else, to get confused about who we are, and that it's okay to be who we are. Those are the main topics that I see often in the clients that I guide. And I experienced this also when I was younger. I knew that my nature is to be happy, and positive, and to always take care of other people, and to just shine. That's my default setting. But there were moments, quite often actually in my youth, that I could suddenly become very angry or very sad, and I didn't understand that part of me. I didn't understand how that worked, why I was so sad. And my mom often asked me, what's going on with you? Why are you acting like this? Why are you so sad? Why are you so angry? And I couldn't answer her. I never knew the answer to that question because I kept thinking about it and kept thinking about it, and I just couldn't find an answer. I couldn't find why I was experiencing those emotions. Um, I I think I was already in my 30s when the answer to that question finally came to me. Because then I learned that I am a highly sensitive person, and I learned that for highly sensitive people, it is possible to take over other people's energy and other people's emotions like they are your own. And I always thought that if I feel it, it's mine because I am feeling it. And that's not true. So that was what was happening every time I got angry or sad without knowing why. Those turned out not to be my emotions. They turned out to be somebody else's emotions. And if you are not supported if you are not supported in being who you are, in discovering who you are in everything. Hi, Reconstructed NL, nice of you to join. In discovering who you are and accepting who you are, then this can be quite confusing because you feel stuff that you don't understand because most of what you're feeling is probably not yours. Hi, Frank Williams. Nice of you to join. And Nature Plus Coaching, also nice of you to join. Glad you guys are here. And so for a highly sensitive person, that can be quite confusing. And we see all these people around us, and they know what they want to become. I could be very jealous of people in my classroom who knew that they wanted to become a fireman or an astronaut or a ballerina or a vet or whatever, because I never knew what I wanted to become. And I didn't really know who I was. I didn't know what it I didn't know that I was a highly sensitive person until I was in my 30s, like I just told you. And knowing that part it's very important. I am not a fan of labels, and I'm definitely not a fan of squares, because in my country where I live here in Holland, people are very keen on squares, because if they can put you in a square, if they can put a label on you, then they know what you are, or what disorder you have, and then they know how to treat you, which medicine to give you, how to handle you, stuff like that. And that's really not what I like. And that's what most of us highly sensitive people don't like. But learning that I am a highly sensitive person and learning what that entails was a very important part in getting to know who I am. What goes along with being highly sensitive? What does it mean for me personally? What does it mean in my business? What does it mean in my life? Hi, Frank. I'm doing great. How are you? You doing good as well? I hope so. So it's really important to know who you are. And if you are one of those people that are struggling with discovering who you really are, then go ahead and put the number 1 in the comment section, because then I can give you some tips and maybe try to help you figure out who you are, because this is a really important part, a really important thing to discover. The second thing that is really important to know is what you do. Hi, Powerwalk Club in Breda, nice of you to join. And so besides knowing who you are, it's also important to know what you do. And a lot of us have trouble deciding on what to do. Well, like I told you before, I never knew I wanted to be an astronaut or a fireman or a vet or whatever. I didn't really know what I wanted to become. So I ended up in choosing areas in my education that gave me a very broad way so that I could become all sorts of things. And what I often see in my practice, and the same was for me as well, is that we roll into things because we don't really know what we want to do, and also because we tend to be really good at most things we do. It's really hard to narrow it down and to focus on the one thing that you are, or the one thing that you're going to do, because you have so many interests. You like so many different things, and you are good at most of them. So it's really hard to decide what you want to do. And I myself, I started out as being a receptionist in a company, because after my high school, I needed to get a job because I needed to live on myself. And that means paying the bills. And for paying the bills, you need money. So that means you need to have a job. And I took the first job that wanted to have me, that paid a decent wage with which I could pay my rent. And then from that moment on, I rolled into all my other jobs. My boss came up to me and he told me, I think you're too smart to sit here behind the telephone. I think you can do so much more. Wouldn't you like to become a Java programmer? And I told him, well, maybe. What is it? And then he explained to me what it was, and I thought, well, okay, why not? And I entered their mentoring program. It was a year, and after a year I had become a Java programmer, and I started to work as a Java programmer. And then I rolled into a different job because there were no how do I tell you this in English? I was working for a company that places me in other companies for assignments, and there were no Java assignments yet because they had just started out. So they had this bunch of freshly educated Java programmers, but no work for them. And a friend of mine was working for a different company and they needed people, so I switched. And then I started working there, and somebody told me, my manager, he told me, well, but you are a communicative Java programmer. That's very rare in IT. Most of them are not that communicative. And won't you consider maybe becoming a project manager? Because I think you would be awesome at it. And you can talk to the client, you can explain things, but you also know the technical side. So you could be a real bridge between the programmers and the clients, and switch back and forth. And I thought, again, why not? So I rolled into my project management job, and I did that for a while, and then Agile became the new hot thing in IT land. For those of you who don't know what Agile is and would like to know, comment in the comment section. I want to know what Agile is, and I'll tell you. But Agile was a new technique within IT that could help structure projects better than the current project management tools could. And they asked me, don't you want to become maybe a Scrum Master? Hi, hey, nice of you to join. And so I thought, again, why not? And they offered me a training, a course to become a Scrum Master. And then I started to work as a Scrum Master. And from there on, I became an Agile consultant and an Agile coach. But I never really chose any of these jobs. They chose me, or there were people that saw something in me and asked me if I didn't want to try that. And every time I thought, okay, why not? Because I didn't have a better option or a clear perspective on what I wanted to do. So if you can relate to this, and if you are also having trouble getting clear on what it is that you want to do, then type in the number 2 in the comment section, either live or in the replay, and I'll contact you and I'll do my best to help you get clear on what it is that you want to do. Because this also is a thing that you should know. The third thing that you should know, and that I want to talk to you about, that is knowing what your passion is. For a lot of people, it is really difficult to connect with their passion. And this is something that I coach and train almost every highly sensitive person that comes into my practice on. And this also has to do with that we are good in so many things. We have so many interests that it's really hard to decide what it is that you want to do. And the second part in that is that we also don't have a clear image often on who we are. Hi, Thomas. Nice of you to join. So these two parts, they are very important in knowing what your passion is. And we are often afraid of really connecting with that passion. We don't really know how to do this because we are not taught how to do this in school. And that's also one of the things that bothers me the most about our education system nowadays, because we learn a shitload of useless facts and algebra that we never use in practice, all the main cities of all the important countries that we don't often use, and quite a lot more, and a lot about history also. It's already been done and we cannot change. And of course there are lessons to be learned in it, but the things that I think that are important to learn in school are the things we don't learn. We don't learn how to be ourselves. We don't learn how to discover who we are. We don't learn how to discover what it is that we actually want to do that suits us, that suits our nature. And we tend to just roll into jobs or start jobs because they are convenient, or because they are available, or because we need one to pay the bills. And we are not taught how to use our intuition, for instance. And we are also not taught how to connect with our passion, how to find our purpose, and how to find a job or start a company that connects with that. And if you are among one of the 80% of people that are not highly sensitive, then you might get away with it. You might skate by and you might be fairly happy and it might be okay. Although I also see people who are not highly sensitive for whom it's also not okay. But for us highly sensitive people, it's never okay. If we don't do something that's connected to our passion, it feels like you're slowly dying on the inside. I used to have that. I used to feel like I was slowly dying on the inside. I used to think, is this really it? Is this all that life has to offer? Is this really what I need to be doing for the next 40 to 60 years of my life? And I dreaded it. It didn't make me happy. I didn't really enjoy going to my work. Like I also never really enjoyed going to school. They were both things that you just did. If as a child you need to go to school, and after school is finished you need to have a job, because that's what everybody else does, so that's what you do as well. But what I've discovered is that once you get clear on your passion, and you get clear on your big dream, and you either find a job that connects to it, or you have the guts to start your own company, then that's the moment you come into contact with that happy place inside of you. Then that is the moment you start turning your life around and start to actually enjoy what you do. And a lot of people ask me, if you could go back to in employment to work for a boss, would you? And my answer is no. I would never ever want to go back to working for a boss, because I was miserable when I was working there. And even if I found a job that connected to my passion, it would be better, but I still would not want to trade in being a business owner, because now I have my vision, I have my passion, I have my big dream, I have my mission here on earth. It lights me up. It gives me so much joy. It gives me so much pleasure to do these talks with you guys, to talk with you, to help you, to educate you, to get you in touch with your deep inner self, to help you to become the best version of yourself, to love and accept yourself unconditionally, so that you are proud of your sensitive nature instead of trying to hide it, or secretly, or maybe not so secretly, wanting it to go away, that it was never there. And the moment that you do that, the moment that you embrace your highly sensitive nature completely, without reserve, without conditions, and you start to shine, then the most amazing things happen in your life. You meet the most amazing things, the most amazing people, you get the most amazing opportunities. And yeah, it requires a lot of work, and it often is quite insecure or uncertain. Hi Edwin, nice of you to join, but it's so worth it. And that's why I also made the Highly Sensitive Entrepreneur interview series, to give your guys a glimpse into the life of us highly sensitive entrepreneurs, and also take you along for the steps that we had to take in order to become that entrepreneur, because we had the same fears as you do, and we had the same limiting beliefs as you do, but we overcame them. So we talk about our fears, our blocks, the steps we took to overcome them, and most of all about the benefits of being an entrepreneur, of being able to shape and form your life in a way that makes you truly happy. And that is why I would never want to go back to working for a boss again, even though sometimes it can be difficult or straining or uncertain, but it's worth it. The other times when you're happy, when you're shining, when you're really able to connect with people, really able to work with people, to help people, that is so worth it. And that's one of the big differences between a highly sensitive person and a non-highly sensitive person. We can work for a little money, but have people appreciate us being here, telling us every day how much they value us, how much we make a difference in their lives. And that's what fuels us. That's what we need. That's food for the soul, so to say. And the non-highly sensitive person mainly does it about, it's about status. It's about wealth. It's about acquiring a big house or a big car to show off how well you're doing, how well off you are. And not all of you who are not highly sensitive want to admit this, but in the end, that's usually what it's about. And you need to have the house with the white picket fence, with the 2.5 children, with the dog, because that's what's expected of you in this world. But guess what? You are the one who decides what is expected of you and to which expectations you want to adhere. And if you don't want a dog, if you don't want a white picket fence, or if you don't want 2.5 children, then don't. And that's also part of the freedom that we highly sensitive people crave. So if you are in the category of the number 3 and you are not clear on your passion, your purpose, or maybe you do know what it is, but you don't know how to manifest it in your life, how to create your life around it so that it benefits you, so that you love what you're doing, then please add a number 3 in the comments and let me help you get clear on your passion and your purpose. I would love nothing more than to help you feel the way that I am feeling now, and all the other highly sensitive entrepreneurs that I know, but even also highly sensitive employees, and that have embraced who they are and are thriving and shining in their job for their boss. But side note, that usually is a job in which they have a lot of freedom and a lot of authority to act on their own. Hi, Morocco for Holidays. Nice of you to join. So this brings me to the 4th thing that you should always know, and that is who do you help? And that is one of the main character traits of a highly sensitive person. We tend to help other people more than we help ourselves. So that is a pitfall. That's something we need to watch out for. We need to also help ourselves and make sure that we take good care of ourselves. And no, that is not egoistic. So if that is what you're thinking, do #egoistic in the comments and let me get that out of your mind once and for all, because it's not egoistic to take really good care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, who else is going to do it? And how can you be there for somebody else? So that is one of the notions, one of the rules. If you haven't watched my HSP TV episode about rules, then go to my YouTube channel and watch it, because this is a rule. It's a bullshit rule that we have inherited basically from our parents, and they from their parents and their parents and so on. But it's not true. Really good self-care is never egoistic. That's the side note. So who do you want to help? Especially if you are a highly sensitive entrepreneur, and we tend to have professions like being a coach or a therapist or an acupuncturist or maybe even a bookkeeper, but generally it is a role or a company that we have that's built around helping people. So what you need to know is, who do you help? Who do you do what you do for? And that is also very important, because if you want to help people, and that's one of the pitfalls I often see with entrepreneurs that are starting out, is that they want to help everybody. I was like that when I started out. I wanted to help everybody, preferably with everything, but as much as I could, in as many ways as I could, and as many people as I could. And that makes you too general. That makes you too broad, and you think it's attractive. You think it will attract the people to you, but it's actually the other way around. You repel people. If you have, if one of your teeth broke off, for instance, I had a friend who had that happen this last week, so she's my inspiration today. Thanks, Betty. But if your tooth broke off and you need to go to somebody to have it fixed, right? Because you cannot walk around with a broken tooth. To whom would you go? Would you go to somebody who specializes in teeth and maybe in prosthetics for teeth that can help you with a solution for your broken teeth? Or would you want to go to a healthcare professional that could help you with your migraines, with your bladder problems, with your erectile dysfunction, also with your teeth, but also with your hair falling out, with eczema, with inflammation? You get my drift. Which one of these 2 people would you choose? Would you go to a specialist specialized in teeth and prosthesis for teeth? Or would you go to a general healthcare provider that can do teeth, but also 20 other things? Be honest. Be really honest with yourself. Whom would you choose? And I'm guessing you would choose the specialist, the one that is specialized in teeth. And that's the same for us when we choose to be a therapist or a coach. You cannot do everything for everyone with every technique that there's out there. It's just too much, it's too broad, and people will not come. So you need to get clear on who you want to help and with what you want to help them, and which tools you want to use to help them with. And the more specific you are, the easier it will become to become an authority in your area of expertise. The easier it will become to think of a good marketing, have a good marketing strategy, think of the posts and the articles you want to write, or make the videos like I'm doing right now. It all becomes so much easier when you get clear on who you want to help. So if you are watching this either live or in the replay and you need help being really, really, really clear on who you want to help, with what, and with which tools, then put the number 4 in the comments and I'll contact you. It's every time I contact somebody, it's purely to help you. There are no strings attached. There is no money involved. I don't expect you to pay me for anything. You are not required to take a course or an online program or a workshop for a lot of money. Nothing like that, I promise. I am here to help you. I want to help you, and I'm offering you my help for free. So if you are either struggling with who you are, type the number 1 in the comments. Struggling with what you do, type the number 2. Struggling with what your passion is, what your purpose is here in life, what your mission is, what your goals are, what your big dream is, type the number 3 in the comment section. And if your problem is that you're not clear on who you want to help, with what, and which tools, then type the number 4 into the comment section. And please allow me to help you, because that is what I love to do the most. So these were the 4 things that you should always know. I hope that this session was valuable for you. And I hope that you got to learn something today, because that is also my aim for these sessions. And I also hope, of course, that if you really, really liked this video, that you will share it with your friends, that you'll tell other people about it, that they can come and ask their questions live, or if you are afraid to ask them live, you can, of course, always send me an email. The email address is info@beimbalance.com, and you can ask me every question that you would like to ask me, and you can also give me topics that you would like me to talk about next time, or maybe just wanting to give me feedback on how I'm doing, because it's still scary, live video, even if you're doing it for a while now. So everything that you want to share with me, I would love to receive. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you all again next week, same time, same place. I am live on both Instagram and Facebook every Thursday, 5:30 p.m. or 5:30 in the evening, for those who are not working with PM and AM. And that's Amsterdam time. And since the clock changed, the summertime has gone into effect right now. It changed to GMT +2. But it's always Amsterdam, so check your time zone and join me for next week's session here live, 5:30. I hope to see you all again soon. And thanks for now. Bye.